people still crave insights and emotions and perspectives. But imagine if you had,
how do I scale myself as a creator and
yeah,
still deliver a very intimate experience?
I think this is going to be really useful for knowledge creators,
Those kind of content farms just die.
creating experiences that are much richer, more interactive than what they were able to create today.
How does AI affect the creator ecosystem?
This is a lot of fun.
Hi everyone, I'm Asad, and following is my conversation with Chris Struhar. Chris Struhar was a VP of product at Facebook, and his superpower is building and designing ecosystems. So we had this really fun conversation about creators and their future in a world with AI. Enjoy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Struhar. I was a former VP of product at Meta, built and led a few different organizations, product orgs while I was there. I led redesigns of the desktop website and mobile applications. I shipped products like Facebook News, which we grew to one of the largest news applications in the United States at its peak, and Bulletin, where we partnered with a bunch of writers and helped them build newsletters and build their audiences. Helped lead a lot of the thinking around what you do with some of the tougher problems in social media around political content, misinformation, how to navigate those. I left in December last year and have spent the time since thinking about LLMs and how they can help people be more informed and be more productive, and what kinds of product experiences you can create on top of that. I guess a lot of what I've been thinking about is that I think that the amount of content that's available out there for people to consume has just exploded over the last 20 years. And I don't think that we have really good tools to help people navigate all of that stuff that's out there today. And I think LLMs can be a really powerful tool that gives people a lot of an ability to better understand and make sense of all of that kind of stuff. So I have been building a couple things on my own and a couple different experiences that can help people make better sense of what's happening around them. And then doing a little bit of advising for some news organizations, one called Chalkbeat, if you've heard of them, or working with them on some projects to help their journalists have better access to public documents and public records, to help their journalists be a little bit more efficient as they're trying to stay up to date. So super interesting and exciting times out there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really exciting time. And one of the reasons I was really excited to chat is a big part of your career at Facebook was around thinking about ecosystems as a whole. How do you design these things so that the incentives are correct? With that, just directly jumping into thinking about this question, how does AI affect the creator ecosystem? What are a couple of dimensions that we can think about? And we can also start by like, hey, what type of creators we're talking about? Because that helps us constrain the problem and then go deeper into some of the ecosystem questions.
Yeah, for sure. And when I think about AI and the impact that it's going to be having on creators and content producers, I really think of a few different buckets here. One is enabling content producers and creators to create stuff a lot more efficiently and give them tools to work with different kinds of data sets than they had access to before. The second thing is helping scale creators and helping them reach their audience and engage their audience in new ways. And the third thing is creating experiences that are much richer and more interactive than what they were able to create today. Walking through each of the three of them, on the first, I think that LLMs and AI are really powerful tools that enable content creators to do their work more efficiently and more effectively. I think that this frees them up to spend less of their time thinking about how to use this tool or that tool to create the thing that they're trying to create, and spend more of their time thinking about how to express new ideas and points. And, I think, of course, video is a big format, and I think tools like yours are making that production process a lot simpler and a lot easier. The domain that I am most familiar with and that I've spent most of my time working with is journalism and knowledge creators. And there, I think that we're seeing much better tools to allow people to, research over large data sets. So I mentioned this before, but there are a lot of products out there like Local Lens, Minutes, Hamlet that are letting people work with like large, data sets of public records in a particular area. So, if you're trying to cover local school board elections or things like that, right now you have to kind of sit down and watch this like 3-hour meeting, and there's like a bunch of them happening every single week in a particular area. And it's just extremely time consuming. And if you think about the things that you could do if you had LLMs to help you navigate that and work with those types of data, I think that there's a lot of really interesting things that you can be creating there. But it's not just about speed either. They're going to be able to, have access to these much deeper pools of data and knowledge that allow them to create new kinds of stuff. The second thing is about scaling. Creators want to build engaged and strong followings with their fans, but they face a challenge today in that they can't personally engage with every single fan that they have. But LLMs allow you to do that. It's getting easier and easier to take all of the content that you've written and create a model that understands your content, your style, your tone, and responds in those ways. So I think it's going to be really useful for knowledge creators like Emily Oster. She's a parenting author. She writes really incredible, thoughtful content. I think it'd be awesome if I could just text her in real time whenever I'm kind of having an issue with our 2-year-old son and I'm not sure what to do. But of course, she can't reply to every single question from every single fan that she's getting. But with LLMs, you can start to do that. She's working on a project to take her content and build a chatbot that can answer questions based on the stuff that she's written in her books. And I think experiences like these are going to be really powerful and really retentive for fans. So the creators that succeed are going to be the ones that leverage these tools to scale themselves and help their audience with their content. And I think in the future, we'll see this kind of interaction becoming a standard way for creators to interact with their fans on a deeper level. And then the last thing that I think is a really interesting trend is kind of changing the output away from these fixed linear kinds of experiences much more towards these interactive pieces. So people have some kind of goal when they're reading your content. They want to learn about some new topic. They want to be entertained. Today, one of the best ways to do that is to read a linear book from beginning to end. But imagine if you had an interactive experience that you could ask questions to and that you could skip things that you already understand pretty well and spend more time explaining concepts that are new to you and do it in ways that are personalized to your level of interest and understanding. So I think we're going to see more experiences that engage audiences in dynamic ways. And I think we're just starting to scratch the surface there. I've seen some creators experimenting with some different things that you can do there. Tyler Cowen, economics author, wrote this book, Greatest of All Time, and he put out an LLM version of it in parallel, which I thought was a pretty interesting thing to explore. So it's interesting to think of creators, instead of just creating these fixed static outputs, how do you create these interactive models that can represent their views and represent their ideas and do interesting new things with.
And I love this categorization because in some sense, the first one is how do I decrease the cost to produce really, really high quality stuff, which earlier would take a whole team of researchers to do. The second one is how do I scale myself as a creator and still deliver a very intimate experience? And then the last one is how do you go beyond these 2D kind of experiences that exist today and enable it to be much more tailored to the consumer? So that's very exciting. Like switching topics a little bit, I think everything that the creators and how the creator economy generally evolves is around what type of incentives exist for creators. And maybe I think the two threads to discuss is, what types of creators will thrive in this ecosystem, what type of creators would kind of perish in this ecosystem.
In a world where AI and LLMs can produce endless, generic content, I think that the creators that offer more depth and more originality are going to be the ones that wind up seeing more success. Even before LLMs, I think there was a flood of generic commoditized content that was easy to create. I think it's even worse with ChatGPT when anyone can go in and create that content in 15 seconds for free. But, I think that people still crave insights and emotions and perspectives. And, whatever your profession is, you want to make sure that you have access to the best possible information to give you a little bit of an edge in what you're doing. Even if you're just trying to be informed about what's happening and what's going on, you want to be able to go talk to your friends and not just say the same kind of generic things that your friends all already know. You want to bring something interesting that's entertaining or whatever else the case might be to the table. So, and I think that those things are like distinctly human too. I think that the creators that can combine AI with their own human intuition on what kind of content to create that's unique and offers you something different than what you can get elsewhere those are the ones that are going to succeed at the end of the day. Like it's the perspectives, it's like the Ben Thompsons and Stratecheries of the world that really have something unique and valuable and interesting to say. You're going to start to see more of those kinds of people succeeding over time, and the people who build some niche community and leverage AI both to scale themselves and to produce content and do all the things that I was saying before, but still again bring that human components and the human intuition that they have to that area to say something that's unique and something that is different and something that their community and that their fans really want. I think that's going to be critical for them to succeed.
Maybe the flip side of this is like if you're not adding a lot of editorial value on top, if you're not adding a lot of personality on top of what exists, I think those kind of content farms just die.
Similar to you, am hopeful that the ability to personalize content that kind of rounds out what I want to see as a user, LLMs are going to be a really good fit for that and help reward a lot of those content producers that are creating that kind of valuable and unique information.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, thanks a lot for joining. This was an amazing conversation.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun. I'd love to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. We will tee up the next one.
Hope you enjoyed the conversation. We'll be back with a few more discussions on this topic, so tune in and let us know any feedback. Take care.